Dame. Notre Dame Hospital. In the east end of Montreal, second largest French-speaking city in the world. Ours is a part of North America that is still little known to the rest of the continent. We are another culture, not French, but French-Canadian. Speaking French, but also, many of us, English too. Notre Dame is a great hospital. I am a nurse there, and mon ami Mark is a doctor.
That was the slickest piece of work I've ever seen. Old McCallum just slid that heart catheter through the hole from the left to the right ventricle in 2 minutes. That's what I call medicine.
You don't think psychiatry is medicine? You try dealing with a patient like that, Bernie.
Well, he's a psychopath.
He says the dirtiest things.
You're a nurse, not a Sunday school teacher.
But your habit is on the medical ward.
You can always come back, you know.
Instead, you're a doctor. You can do what you like. But a nurse has to be with them 8 hours a day. It's like a mother with babies.
You can have babies whenever you want, Susie.
Doctors make me sick. You think they were gods or something?
Well, we are, my dear. And the nurses are our handmaidens.
That's what you think. We're professional people as much as you.
You just haven't learned how yet.
Off to yourself, Daddy.
And off to your boyfriend. Take it easy.
Hey, Sue, don't forget it's your time to buy the groceries.
Okay. What's my problem child today, Mr. Richter?
He's okay, Miss Martin. No fights yet. You shouldn't let him get your goat.
I just can't help it. It gets me so disturbed.
Well, you can't let him know that. He'll just keep riding you if you do.
How do you do it? They don't bother you.
Doesn't help to get mad at them. You act one way with one and another way with another.
You make it sound so easy. But a person has feelings. You can't go around pretending.
She came in crying the other day. I wonder if she ought to have help.
You need treatment? No. Put her in our group.
We've already got her a team leader. I don't know if she can be spared.
You're the supervisor.
All right. You and I have learned what's best to do for a patient by straight experience. To Mr. Richard, it comes naturally. Now we have to teach it to interns and nurses. I wonder if it's going to work.
I can't see any reason to wait 10 years for a simple lesson you can learn in 10 minutes. Anyone who is sick, even with a cold, regresses and is emotionally upset. You have to treat the emotional upset. This is the illness, and you should not take this personally.
Watch this. Hey, Miss Martin, how do you making out? Getting any?
How are you today, Bernie? Hello, John.
You want to play cards? Or what kind of games do you like to play? You got a boyfriend?
Yes.
I think maybe it's the first one you ever had, huh?
Well, suppose he is.
Then you in love with this one now?
Really, Bernie? You think that's any of your business?
Hey, now you're blushing. Maybe you and him got some problems, huh?
You're the one with problems. You are the patient.
Pretty touchy, huh? Maybe I could teach you a few things that might help you with your boyfriend, huh?
Oh, good.
Sue, is anything the matter? Bernie, what are you up to now?
Who, me? Nothing at all, Miss Dennis. Nothing at all.
You know, I thought in psychiatry I'd learned some things about myself. Maybe I should go back to general nursing. It's much easier. You're busy every minute doing things. You don't have time to bother about how the patients feel.
Yes, but they do feel. You've learned that, you know.
The head nurse we had in medicine would never like to take time to listen to the patients.
That'd drive you up the wall now. Our job is to get them better, and you don't do that with bedpans. Besides, you're the one who's always talking about the nurse being a professional person, not just a thermometer carrier.
Mark doesn't think so. Here he is now. I've got to get my dress on.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, beautiful. Where's my little handmaiden?
Now, if you think you're one of the gods, come off it. I know you doctors. Sometimes you give us more trouble than the patients.
Well, that's the girl. Why can't nurses talk to us that way in the hospital?
My dear boy, if you've had it drum into you for 3 years that doctors are a race apart, you don't talk back, not even to your head nurse.
I was kidding, Susan, but she thought I was serious.
Oh, you kid her too much. She has 2 difficult people to deal with, you and that psychopath. I almost said you and that other psychopath.
You know how Susan gets so serious about nurses being professional people. Trouble is, she doesn't believe it yet. I wish she did. I wish she'd marry me and chuck that ward.
She's got some things to work out first.
Hey, gorgeous, come on out.
Take it easy tonight. She's upset.
Don't worry, I'm just what the doctor ordered.
Your order, please, Madame.
Oh, I'll have a scotch and bitter hemlock for mademoiselle.
I'll have a double scotch.
Hey, take it easy.
Take it easy yourself. You're not prescribing for me, doctor.
You want to dance, Susan?
No, I don't.
Thank you.
Thank you. You think you're so smart.
Oh, come off it, Susie, darling. I'm not your problem child. Haven't you had enough of that stuff today?
Certainly I have, and you're not helping any.
Look, I'll try to be serious. I know you're having a bad time. Why not spill it all out? Maybe you'll feel better.
Hi, big brother, you're too old to dance?
No, we're just watching the funny little children. Say, that's an idea. The National Theatre School she goes to teaches them how to control stage fright by breathing with the diaphragm. That's good. It controls hyperventilation. Why don't you try it when that psychopath Bernie gets you down?
But you learn all through training that a nurse isn't supposed to have feelings.
Well, now you unlearn that and start again. Of course you have feelings. If someone attacks you, you will be scared. If they are angry, you will be angry. You can't help it, but you can learn not to show it. That's part of your job as doctors and nurses. If you play it cool, they'll have to come around and relate to you.
If you put on a phony act, the patients are going to spot it.
It doesn't need to be phony. When you were in the emergency room and they brought in an injured patient, did you run around wringing your hands? No. You act cool, confident, even if you were shaking in your shoes. It is an act, but it has to be a good one, because you have a very sensitive audience.
How can you be expected to control yourself with someone like Bernie?
When you learn to manage your feelings, you'll manage him.
Sure, it's natural to feed back your emotion to him, but you make him worse.
When you're challenged by a patient's emotional outburst, your body prepares itself just like it does for any emergency. You can give in to your emotion, but that's pure self-indulgence when you have a job to do. Or you can use this extra energy to operate at a higher pitch.
You listen for the inner meaning. Listen with the third ear, if you like. You think ahead about what to do next. This will channel your emotions into intellectual activity, and you don't feel so threatened.
As soon as the patient senses you're not threatened nor angry, and you're tuned in to help him, this has a healing effect. This is the way it works in medicine or surgery, at work or in a factory for that matter.
I wonder if that would work with doctors too, or supervisors.
sometimes you get so mad and you don't even dare to talk back to them.
Well, why don't you? Even if the chief of service wants something and you know better, you must say so. If you need to know something, go and ask. Make them tell you. You have to talk back. Otherwise, you're not doing your job.
Remember the study reported recently on contacts on the ward. Only 2 were between doctors and nurses. And even at that, 1 was for a match. We have to change. We have to communicate.
Trouble with you is, you're nuts. You think they give you shock treatment because it gets you feeling better? You're too much trouble around here. It quietens you down. It's punishment.
Oh, no.
No? Well, with that Miss Floyd, I heard the other day she was talking to the doc about you, and you should have heard the things she was saying. I've tried to be nice with her lots of times, but no dice, you know? I walk up there and I says, why don't you ever smile sometime? She says, what's there to smile about? The day after I meet her and I says, your hair is nice this morning, you know? She says, why don't you get yours cut? You look like you goddamn hobo. Well, look at old Gloucester. That guy's a catatonic. You think he doesn't know what's going on? Sure he does. If they push him around, he knows. That Richard guy down there, he's okay. He knows his court. When I bust out last time, he just talked quiet and got me out of it. Look at that Miller down there. He's spoiling me again. You know, that guy, he doesn't think he's even sick. Once his throat back so he can go back to college. You see that Kelly guy in the corner down there? That guy bugs me. Keeps sucking around my room all the time. Last time I caught him in there, I just threw him up to right in the hall. See Peter Gerard there? The attendant? That guy's got a chip on his shoulder. I told him last time I saw him, I says, don't worry, small boy. I'll push that chip off for you.
What's the penalty for hitting a doctor?
There's no penalty, Mr. Butcher.
Oh, bastard.
I thought he would hit you.
So did I.
Weren't you frightened?
Of course. But I had to figure out one thing that I could say that would stop him. One move, like chess. It's an intellectual game. You're all keyed up, but it helps. When he's cooled off, I'll go and talk to him.
What happens if you don't act the way you feel? You'd explode.
Not really. You control your emotion. You may let them go, but not while you're on duty.
It's so much easier in medicine.
Oh, no. You come with me. I have to go on medical rounds. You see that they have problems. Emotional disturbance is part of all illness and in all hospitals, and we must never forget that.
Mrs. Raymond had a heart attack. 4 weeks you've been with us, isn't it?
4 weeks tomorrow, doctor.
She's made an excellent recovery, sir. We're satisfied everything's coming along fine. Actually, it would be better for her to leave now. But for some reason, she doesn't seem to want to leave us.
Why don't you want to go home, Mrs. Raymond?
Well, I don't feel well yet. I got sticking pain here.
I've explained the pains are of no real consequence.
Yes, Mrs. Raymond. This is quite frequent after a heart attack. But it's not serious. It's due to anxiety while you're in the hospital. And you'll find out that when you get back home, back to your activities, you'll soon forget about them.
We've been over the home situation. I've explained we'll send a visiting nurse over to see her, but she can't seem to see it.
You feel you've had pretty good care here, Mrs. Raymond?
Well, the doctor's been fine for me, just fine. And the nurses, well, they don't come when I call. They just get cross. I'm sure he'll get me well, won't you, doctor?
Mrs. Raymond, what am I going to do with you? I keep telling you you are well.
Why, head shrinkers on medical rounds.
Can't do any harm, my boy. I'm beginning to wonder. I didn't think much of psychiatry either. But in medicine today, we get loaded down with so many gadgets. Maybe we forget it's people we're dealing with.
Maybe. Remember the story of the man in the kidney machine and the heart machine? They found he'd be dead for 2 days.
We have more trouble with her than with any other patient in the ward.
What do you think, Doctor?
Oh, I'd take a look at her complaining a bit. Does anyone sit down and listen to her?
Well, we don't have much time to sit and talk with the patient. This ward is terribly busy.
You might find it useful. You might even find it saves you time. You must have other troublesome patients.
I should say, but she's the worst. We avoid her as much as we can.
This is possibly just the opposite you should do. And you know, Doctor, this patient has a real liking for you. I have the impression you're the one to resolve this case.
How are you feeling, Bernie?
How are you feeling, Bernie? What a goddamn stupid question. I feel terrible. What's it to you anyway?
Would you like a game of cards, maybe?
You don't play for my stakes, kid.
Bernie, you know how it is when you get this way. Your feelings build up until you have to release them in a fight or something. Maybe we can find a better way.
What the hell do you know about it? You know what you are, kid? Eh? You're just a goddamn teaser. And if I had you out in the woods, I'd show you.
Bernie, you shouldn't talk that way.
You think you're a nurse? You're just a goddamn broad. What do you and that doctor do when you get off work, eh? I bet you play some pretty games. Stupid bitch.
You're an opinionated, self-satisfied, a nasty doctor.
Look, Susie, I know you're feeling lousy. What say we climb the mountain? It might do us both good.
Mark, I'm sorry. I have been so mean.
You're a woman, darling.
It's the word, you know. But I'm getting better.
Yes, you are. As long as it's not all bad feelings, I can cope.
It's not. It's not. You know, I'm getting better with the patients. But I have to store out my bad feelings.
Let them out with me. I know now they're not meant for me. If I pay more attention to feelings, I have some storing up to do, too.
I know.
Now, when you learn to breathe from down here, it'll give you a much stronger base.
That's Powers Thomas.
Now, most people breathe from here, or even from here, particularly when they're tense. But when you learn to breathe from the diaphragm, automatically the lungs take in more air, and your confidence improves at least 10 times. Even if you feel like screaming, it'll help you to keep calm. Now, when you're relaxed, you're in control. So, learn to breathe with the diaphragm. It relaxes you, it gives you a very firm base, and it'll help you to face anything.
Let's go find Monique and the director, James Downville.
Of course you have a role to play. And you have to keep it up 8 or 12 hours. That's tougher than an actor's job. But I don't think it's so very different. A good actor gives himself completely, but he retains a critical sense. He watches himself giving himself. It's as if he sees himself with a kind of third eye. And he must know how far to go with an audience, when to stop and when to go further. He wants to touch them and to go deep. And that's what you want to do with your patient. So that's why you need a third eye too.
It is a technique, and it sounds just as valid for medicine.
But are we acting?
Yes, you are. You're getting them well too, but you're playing a part. The part of a nurse or a doctor whose job it is to heal. And anything outside that role is personal and beside the point. When an actor is in front of an audience, his heart's beating like mad, and he learns by means of breath control or by other means not to show stage fright. The audience will go along with him only if they feel he's secure. And the same is true of you with your patient. And always the third eye tells you the image you present. The image that works for our audience or that will help your patient. We see ourselves being ourselves. The audience feels and receives the impact of the emotions we project. In the hospital, you're on the receiving end. You must learn to take it and not be too touched by it.
In a kind of a reverse way, I think we're really doing much the same kind of thing.
This is our stage. The ward is yours.
What's come over you?
Nothing. Maybe I'm learning too, the way you're trying to. You don't have to stay in the hospital.
No, but I need to. All kidding aside, a guy has to sit down sometime and talk. Even pretending the nurse is a girlfriend. Not a cold person behind all that armor you wear.
Of course, Judy. That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. Did I ever tell you I'm writing a book about myself? Show it to you sometime. But I doubt if you'll believe me. Anyway, it all started around last Christmas. I'd been on a drunk with a few of the guys who have bikes, and been drinking pretty heavy. I came home that night, and I went to bed. I couldn't sleep, so I started thinking about my life, how disgusting it was. Over the years, I scrapped 2 cars, 2 bikes. I was over $3,000 in debt. I don't know, I started feeling sorry for myself and tired of living, I guess. So I got up and I took my rifle and I pointed at my stomach. But at the last minute I chickened out, you know. I was pulling it away, but it went off. It went through the side and out the back. And when I was on the floor, I said, "Why Christ did I do a thing like that for?" Then my parents came in the room and everybody was getting up. And it hurts me, you know, to see my parents are sad or hurt because of me. If you don't believe me, I can show you the scar.
Yes, I know about it.
Why have I lived this way?
So you're going to stay in psychiatry then?
But of course, I'm learning, you know, even about myself. Aren't you?
Well, a doctor may not have it so hard. He already acts with a kind of an edge. But I did spend some time with that Mrs. Raymond, and it worked. Even the nurses noticed. I promised I'd see her myself when she comes to the outpatient, and she's agreed to go home tomorrow. We all thought we had it cured, but she wasn't really well, until she believed it herself.
Even with a simple cold, regresses and is emotionally upset. You have to treat the emotional upset.
Of course you have to. You can't help it, but you can learn not to show it.
You're playing a part. The part of a nurse or a doctor whose job it is to heal.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, nurse. Curtain going up?
Hey, stop that, boy.
What's the matter?
Get these bums off of me!
Let him up.
We'll just hold him on until he cools out.
Let him up. I'll look after him.
Isn't she a bit afraid of that, oh? She's a real nurse.
There I went again. Geez, if I'm going to be in here long enough to get well, you might try to find me a job around here so I can help, eh? You got any job open for bright young psychopath?